as irrelevant. He says that he teaches only suffering and the cessation of suffering. And all other pursuits, all other philosophical pursuits, he says, are futile, misleading, even dangerous. And the Buddha compares the metaphysician obsessed with his speculations to a man struck by a poisoned arrow. A man is lying, he's been hit by a poisoned arrow, a physician comes to him, offers to remove the arrow, and the man says, "No, I won't let you take out the arrow until you tell me the name of the man who shot me, what class he comes from, what his family is, what kind of material he made the arrow from, what kind of poison he used, what kind of bow he used." Such a man will die before he recovers. In the same way, the Buddha says, the speculative thinker, lost in his questions and his systems of thought, only continues to wallow in suffering without finding the way to liberation. And the Buddha's teaching is presented solely and entirely to give us the way to liberation. Now, the recorded teachings of the Buddha are very numerous, but all of these diverse teachings fit together into a single unifying frame, which is completely consistent, completely coherent. This frame is the teaching of the Four Noble Truths. And the Buddha compares the Four Noble Truths to the footprint of an elephant. And just as the footprint of the elephant can contain the footprints of all the other animals, the footprints of tigers, lions, dogs, cats, bears, deer, all fit into the footprint of the elephant. And so all the different teachings taught by the Buddha fit into this single framework of the Four Noble Truths. This is the key which unifies all the different teachings of the Buddha. It's sometimes believed that the Four Noble Truths form an introductory teaching, the ABCs of Buddhism, preparations for the higher doctrines, for the real deep esoteric stuff. This view, however, is not correct. In the suttas, the Buddha makes it clear that the realization of the Four Noble Truths coincides with the attainment of enlightenment itself. In his first discourse, spoken to his first 5 disciples, when he sets in motion the wheel of Dhamma, the Buddha says that as long as I did not fully understand and penetrate the Four Noble Truths, I didn't claim in this world that I had reached the supreme enlightenment. But when I fully penetrated the Four Noble Truths, then I could claim that I reached the supreme enlightenment. And the teaching of the Four Noble Truths was the special mission of the Buddha. It's called the Samukhangsika Dhamma Desana, the unique Dhamma teaching of an enlightened one. And the Buddha says that just as when the sun and moon haven't appeared in the world, then there's no shining forth of light, no radiance, but only darkness covers the world. And there's no discrimination of day and night, of the seasons and the years. In the same way, he says, as long as a Buddha doesn't appear in the world, then there's no teaching, no exposition of the Four Noble Truths, but only spiritual blindness and darkness prevails. But when a Buddha arises in the world, that is like the arising of the sun and the moon, shedding great light over the world. When the Buddha appears, then there's a teaching of the Four Noble Truths, the explanation and analysis and exposition of the Four Noble Truths. So the special purpose of the whole Dhamma is to make known the Four Noble Truths. And the special aim of those treading the path to enlightenment is to see for themselves the Four Noble Truths. The Buddha says that as long as we remain blind to the Four Noble Truths, we are lost in ignorance. We roam in samsara, the ocean of birth and death, the round of suffering. But when we awaken to the truths, when we make them a living experience, that is the wisdom of enlightenment. That leads to nibbana, to the freedom of the liberated mind. Now, before we can realize the Four Noble Truths, we have to understand them. And to understand them, we have to learn what they are. The first Noble Truth is the truth of dukkha. The term dukkha is usually translated as suffering, but as we'll see, the Pali word has a much deeper meaning than this word. The second truth is the truth of the origin of dukkha, the cause of suffering. And this the Buddha identifies as craving or thirst, the blind, self-centered desire. The third noble truth is the truth of the cessation of dukkha, the end of suffering, which the Buddha identifies as nibbana, the deathless state. And the fourth noble truth is the truth of the path, the way to liberation from dukkha. That is the Noble Eightfold Path. And from this explanation, we can see that the Four Noble Truths actually center around a single theme, a single subject. That is what's called dukkha. And they differ simply in that they treat this theme from four different angles. The first truth lays out the problem, the forms of dukkha. The second truth traces the problem to its cause. The third truth gives us the solution. And the fourth truth maps out the means to achieve the solution. Now, since the whole concern of the Four Noble Truths is with the problem of dukkha, our understanding of the Dhamma hinges upon the way we understand this word. Now, the word dukkha has often been translated as suffering, pain, and misery. And while these capture part of its meaning, they also give rise to misconceptions. Part of the problem is the fact that there's no single English word that really does justice to the original